Hi, Nikki Lundberg, the Sex Mentor here, and today we're going to be talking about masturbation for women. I have a fabulous model here to help me with my graphic how-to video, but before we get started, I just wanted to chat with her and see what she can share with you about her experience with masturbation and other sexual things and her sexual growth. So thank you for being here today. I'm so excited.
So am I.
So you started to say that you began masturbating, you found out about that when you were 12.
I think I was even younger than that.
Okay. So did you just stumble upon it? Were you watching? Do you remember?
I think stumbled upon it, kind of like on the, against the bed and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't very long after I think it was probably Dad's magazines that didn't, it probably helped out along, and discovered the toothbrush, electric toothbrush.
Oh.
At 12.
Wow. So what did you do, like the back of the toothbrush head? Because it was that would get hot. They used to have the little. You need to make sure to speak up though.
It gets hot. So
okay.
The tip would, so you'd use the backside of it next to the plug. So I was always very conscientious of not letting it get wet too. Strange. 12. Give me a break. Innovative.
I did something innovative too. So
it didn't enter.
Okay.
But it was just the vibrations. So
when I did something interesting myself, I had. On the Strip, because we're in Las Vegas, they give out the little magazine, or they have the magazine stands with the dirty mags inside of them. I took 2 of those, and I rolled them up and put a condom on them, and I did a homemade dildo. So
very innovative,
yes.
Yes. It's amazing what we can come up with when we want something.
So, could you tell, when did you figure out about climaxing? Was that at the same time? Because for me it was 2 different times.
That's an interesting question, because there's different levels of climaxing. I mean, there's you get off, and then there's you get off.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it was like over years I found more and more of my sexuality, so it actually got better and better as time moves on. Yes. And actually, my masturbation helped me get through a period of a breakup and stuff like that was really bad. I used to masturbate and call my own name out. Wow,
that's very empowering.
Yeah, it was extremely empowering, and it helped me along. I know it sounds crazy, but it did. It was very cool. So as I was coming, I'd say, "I love you, Cozy."
Very cool.
So,
when do you know you're done? Now.
That could go on for hours sometimes.
Really?
Depends on what the masturbation session starts out like.
Well, let's talk about solo masturbation when no one else is there. Right now, if you hear the laughter in the background, her husband is here and, watching, so I'm sure you perform for him. And that, sessions with others for me also can go on and on and on. But there is a time for me when I know I'm kind of done. So is there a time when you're alone that you're like, okay, I just gotta, bust a... Yeah,
definitely. I know when I'm done. It's basically, okay, well, one is time, and as it subsided yet.
The urge.
I've become a shower masturbator, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's, after a while, the shower water gets cold.
Run out of hot water. So tell me about that, because I've never been huge into the water masturbation.
Discovered it in a pool, and I don't know, it's really strange. It's just different than the whole, it's actually, for me, less intrusive than using an actual vibrator dildo, the vibrations, because it doesn't deaden my nerves. So I don't even remember how I discovered it, like I said, other than the first time in a pool somewhere. And it was just hitting the clitoris just right, and I think I got in the bathtub and tried it, and then from there it was, well, they just made them.
Right. The shower heads.
Then they made them handheld. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just even better.
Yeah, our mutual friend, she was telling me about laying on her back in the bathtub and scooching her butt all the way to where her vagina was right underneath the water coming out of the faucet.
Yeah, that was as a child I would do that. And then not child, but
Teenager.
Yeah. Until I, like I said, until I got into other places and I realized, oh my goodness, yeah, actually.
So that flow of water is actually enough stimulation to orgasm?
What it is that some of the different pressures, they actually pulsate.
Right.
So it's amazing, and you don't have to have lubrication, and by the time you're done, you're clean.
I know it feels really good because I get pretty, I'm very careful about my cleanliness to make sure I get all the crevices and cracks. So I know it does feel good, but I've never taken myself there, so that might be a good experiment for me. Okay, we might be doing another video.
I'm there.
Yeah, and once again, I may be that I have an affinity towards water anyway.
Well, you're not the only one. I know that. So that's then there's people like me that've never done it, or it's like I've always shied away from water because it tends to wash away my natural lubrication, and then it's not the same. But if you're not using any manual stimulation, then it doesn't matter.
No. And like I said, I do use other devices once in a while, but once again, it's not a matter of moving in and out real fast, so there's no friction being created. It's just a matter of presence sometimes for me. So yeah, I do use other devices involved with the shower's head too, but to actually make love in the shower doesn't work because it washes everything away as you're going.
Yes.
And then there's a height differential you have to think about.
Oh. Yes. My model here is an energy worker and body worker, so it's very cool. Okay, what else was I going to ask you? Is there any particular stroke or technique that you use or that you'd like to share with women who are new to masturbation? I have clients and viewers who are in their 30s and 40s who have just become orgasmic. And now they're trying to figure out how to do it to themselves. That's the whole reason why this has come up. Okay. But if you could make it YouTube friendly for this part, and to get more graphic, then while we're doing the graphic shoot, we'll talk about it.
So the question is, at this point, is what strokes?
Yeah, is there any particular stroke or technique around the clitoris, the clit hood, the vaginal lips, the labia? Right.
Well, a beginning stroke is the nice, just the caressing of the inner lips, really soft and gentle, like that just gets everything, the blood flowing up in there. And then that is just, after that, it kind of gets to be whatever is going on that day, but I do little short strokes. And then that's about it. And then I also like to put pressure on top of the pubic bone sometimes, which is the outside stimulation of the G-spot. Right. So if you can touch the upper part of for me, if I can get my hand on the upper part of the pubic bone as I'm stroking, will sometimes really get it going good.
Okay.
And that's one. And then the other one that sometimes will finish me off just in a heartbeat, doesn't matter where I'm at, is nipple stimulation. It's if you do the nipple stimulation at the right point in the back of it, it lets go of the oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
And it's a hormone stimulator, orgasm stimulator.
Okay.
So it can put you over the edge too. So sometimes when you're just like right there.
Then give a little pinch. Very cool. Mr. Smith, can you check that we're both in the frame? Because she's sitting a little bit. No, it's okay. Sit over there. Is she in the frame still? She's like that? Okay. That's good.
I'm going to move over just 1 degree. And you're fine.
Okay, good. So you're talking about so if this is the clit, you're saying the short strokes like this or both?
Back and forth.
Back and forth like this, you like that?
Yeah.
And then do you like it with the, is your clit very sensitive to where you have to stay over the hood? Or?
Yes, I am a hooded one. I found that out from a previous girlfriend of mine. I tended to stay above where she was at, and she was underneath, so I guess I am a hooded.
Yeah, the indirect stimulation.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, unless you're extremely turned on and maybe even in some special headspace, Sometimes the direct stimulation to the clit is too intense.
Yeah, at first at least. I mean, it can get very, very intense when you're doing masturbation by myself or with somebody else. It doesn't really matter. So sometimes the strokes get to be very, very wild. And then I pay for that later one, so.
Oh yeah, well, because if you are accidentally jabbing your lips with your fingertips.
Right, that would be one thing I would suggest to people to pay attention to is wear their fingernails.
Wear their fingernails short, or as an alternative, I recommend, if they don't want to cut their nails, to use finger caught. Because it just dulls it enough to where it's not going to puncture the skin. So do you usually use lubrication, like extra lube, or do you just use your own natural lubrication?
I prefer natural lubrication at this point in time.
And you haven't had a problem with it?
Once in a while.
What's your age range? Are you between 40 and 50? 50
Yeah,
and 60?
I'm between 45 and 50 actually, so yeah, once in a while it's, I prefer the natural lubrication, whatever I can get, you know, my own spit or whatever, preferably. Only because of products right now, some of them are.
Yeah, well, if they taste good, then they're usually sticky.
Right, which causes your hands to stick.
And if you're prone to infection, then it will make you get infection, like a yeast infection from the sugar.
And I just haven't really figured out any. I mean, it used to be that it was easy to figure them out, but it's either that or my age range. I don't know which. So that's changed. So I prefer to try to use something more along the natural lines. And I've even gone to glass because of that.
Oh. So the glass, because it's so smooth, requires less lubrication.
Correct. And the friction
Good tip.
Yeah, and then as it warms up, too, it actually helps more than the rubber ones do. Because it gets hotter than the rubber ones do.
That is a great tip. I did not know that. Okay, that's
it's a bonus
really
we found
good.
out.
Yes, that's really good.
Yeah, and then you can also, if you're, I've never done it, but there's women that use olive oil and other natural oils, and then the glass can take that, the rubbers and stuff can't.
Right, because the natural oils degrade the
Plastic.
Yes.
Or whatever they make
rubber,
that stuff.
Silica, whatever, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's why they always talk about putting a condom over your toy to protect it from the lube. It's kind of like, oh.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah. So, okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share about masturbation?
People should do it often. Masturbation, as I believe, is one of the things that helps me to keep more active sexually, to be more in touch with what I need from my partner as well. I think that's why masturbation is really important. If you can achieve orgasms on your own, then you know what it feels like. And that way, when they get there, come on, how many times has the guy gotten just right almost there and then shifted? It's like, no, just don't stop, because you know where you're at when you're masturbating yourself.
Right.
The more you know your body, the more you can give to your partner, and you can get more back. So I think it's very key to a good sex, you know.
I totally agree. Very good insight. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I know you're an adventurous, sexual woman. I met you at a swingers party. That was like a BDSM-friendly, swinger-friendly get-together.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in an alternative lifestyle? I mentioned when you're married.
You know, actually 6 months and that was it.
Really?
Really. It's very interesting. I mean, he and I have been kinksters without really knowing what level, but when you're not, we're just back together again. Okay. He and I were together a long time ago, so I went through several partners where things weren't safe. So there was no point. I mean, when there's going to be crap that comes up when you go out and have a good time, there's no point in doing it.
I agree, yes.
So I finally found a partner, and we got to a good point in our life that we went, oh, there's more to it than the bedroom. Which we'd fantasized individually about, but never had gone out, because jealous boyfriends and girlfriends don't go well with that.
Right.
You know, that headspace doesn't mess. It doesn't go well in that lifestyle. So.
Wow. So you're very brave to be already getting on camera with me. And was there anything? What kind of conversations did you have around boundaries? This is okay. That's not okay. So what I recommend is when a couple is going to start going into the lifestyle, there's a few different conversations they need to have. They need to have a conversation about their expectations. They have to talk about their fantasies, and they have to talk about boundaries. But then they also have to talk about the recovery time afterward, and I think this is where a lot of people fall down. They say, oh, we just won't do X, Y, Z, period. But they don't think about how sometimes in the heat of the moment, you're caught up, X, Y, Z happens, and then there's not a way to recover from that. So I don't know if you've experienced that.
We've had a lot of conversations when we went. We discussed everything very deeply. It's like, okay, what are we willing to do and what are we not willing to do? And then we said, if either of us said it's time to go, it's time to go. It's like the safe word. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Mm-hmm. We can discuss that later, and we do. If we good or bad sessions or whatever we do, we will later on debrief each other. Hey, that was awesome. Don't do that one ever again. You know, and we respect the boundary lines, first of all, and we know them. We've always had those in place. So, you know, and there's a lot of talking going on. We've had some major bad ones.
Bad experiences?
Not bad, but I mean, it was like, get me out of this rope now, or I will kill you. And he did, and it was no question asked. And once we got back to where the headspace was good again, we were able to discuss it and look at it. But its key is communication. Without the communication, there's nothing. You know, and I would suggest to ladies, look at your men's porn. Look what they like for a minute. It doesn't take very long to figure out what they like, and it's not comparing you to that.
It's a situation.
It's a situation. What are they wearing? You know, what are they doing? They like you. They want to be with you, obviously. But sometimes if you play into their porn, you have a lot more fun.
Well, yeah. Sometimes when you play into any kind of a fantasy or a different type of a mental attitude, it definitely lights up the spark. And then it also, like you said, they're with you as their wife or girlfriend, and that comes back to the fundamental trust and belief. So that's the other thing I say is like always, make the decision to trust your partner and believe what they say.
There you go.
You know, if they say they love you and they want to have fun with you, believe it. You know, whether you think they are telling the truth or not, it doesn't matter. It matters on how you receive it, and that's what's going to affect your experience. So that's
very good advice. Yeah.
So, all right. So, anything else before we get the show on the road? I can't wait.
No, I can't think of anything else at this point in time.
All right. Well, if you would like to see the demonstration, graphic how-to demonstration by my beautiful model, then you can see that on nickislessons.com. That's NIKKISLESSONS.com. Make it a sexy day.